My name is Mateus, Manoel. I'm the fitness coach for Sporting Kansas City. Well, nutrition is, I say, 50% of an athlete's performance and output. Whether it's field, whether it's life, nutrition is really part of your overall training regimen. Training will get you more fit. Nutrition will make sure you're always fit. Well, the best foods to eat before a game, they should realistically be eaten 4 to 5 hours before a game. You're trying to look for a balance between carbohydrates and protein, getting a little bit of veggies. You always want to stay away from the green lettuce, the cabbage, the kale, because those are foods that are going to take a long time for your body to process. So a little bit of veggies, a little bit of protein, lean protein if you can, some chicken preferably, some turkey, stay away from the red meats, and go for your carbs, some pasta, some rice. It's going to give you the fuel to finish the game. Carbohydrates are the main fuel source for your cells. That's what your body uses to burn, right? It uses it for fuel. So if you're not consuming enough carbohydrates, those are the players you'll see fatigued 45 minutes in, 60 minutes into the game. They're not tired because they're not fit, they're tired because they don't have enough fuel, right? It's as if you wake up in the morning, you're driving, you're doing a 50-mile drive and you only have a gallon of gas in the tank. It's not going to help you. So carbs are your energy. So pasta, rice, some grains, some of the vegetables, some fruits, those are always going to have the carbs you need to be able to sustain a match. Your body is going through fatigue during the game, right? You burn your fuel stores, your muscles get sore, you got mileage accumulated in your legs, so you need to replenish those energy sources as quick as possible. And the optimal window from research is 30 minutes after a match. So that 30-minute window is essential because your cells are starved. They're starving for nutrients. That's when you want to get your nutrients in. You're going to have the higher absorption rates of nutrients in that 30-minute window. If you wait too long, then your body is not going to process that food and absorb it real quick. It's just going to eliminate it as waste. So your better bet is to have it at least 30 minutes right after the game. Well, electrolytes is actually a fancy scientific word for your minerals, your salts, sodium, potassium, calcium. Some of those are examples of electrolytes. And what electrolytes do in your body, they basically act at the muscle level to make sure your muscle is functioning when it contracts and when it relaxes. If you don't have enough of those salts, your muscles basically can't really contract and relax very smooth. I call it a WD-40 of muscles, right? It makes a small, nice, quick, smooth transition from contraction and relaxation. And what happens is, as you fatigue, as you sweat towards 70, 80, 90 minutes of a match, you've lost some of those electrolytes through sweat because your body sweats through salts, right? So what you want to do is make sure you're replenishing that, especially at halftime, or if you have time during the sideline to grab a little bit of Gatorade, a little bit of a sports drink that can replenish those electrolytes. It will eventually prevent you from having cramps, because cramps are essentially a breakdown in your electrolyte balance, and now your muscle can't really relax after it has contracted, so it stays contracted. That's basically a cramp. So you want to make sure you're replenishing your electrolytes. If you don't have access to sports drinks, then there are various fruits, like banana being a perfect example, has a lot of potassium. That's just going to help you with that. Supplements are not necessary if you have a balanced diet. Okay, it's a myth. It's something that the industry is pushing because they want to sell you products. It's not true. If you have a nice balanced diet, you're going to have enough protein, carbohydrates. You're going to have enough fat in your diet that you don't need any supplements. Now, if you are an athlete that has a deficiency in something, because maybe, let's say you are a vegetarian, your family's vegetarian, and you need to top off a little bit of protein and you need some supplements, okay. If you're deficient in certain vitamins because you have some disease, okay, maybe a multivitamin will help you. If you don't eat enough fish in your diet because your mom just basically doesn't cook it or doesn't know how to cook it, then maybe a little fish oil on the side makes sense. But all the other supplements, they're just going to be artificial. You never know what's in them. You don't want to run any risks of having problems from taking banned substances. So always take care of your diet, and that'll take care of your supplements. You don't need supplements if your diet's balanced. Water is something that youth players should really focus on. We usually recommend about half to 1 times your body weight. So if you're a 150-pound athlete, you should be having 75 to about 150 ounces of water a day, okay? The general recommendation of about 10 cups or 10 small bottles a day is usually not enough for the athlete that's practicing 3-4 times a week. Or if you take the southern states, if you're playing in Texas, you're in Alabama, you're in Kansas, where the summer gets really hot, your intake has to be enough so that when you go to the bathroom, your urine is not dark brown, brownish, dark yellow. It should be a light yellow to clear in color. So monitor your intake by what your urine looks like, right? Because it's very individual. Some athletes sweat more, some athletes sweat less. So there is no set standard in terms of how much water you should take. It should really be individual based on how much activity you're having and how your body handles sweat. So clear, light yellow in your urine, and you should be good to go. Well, the 5 foods I recommend for athletes are the foods that are going to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of nutrition. I think if you have lean protein as a source of protein, so I highly recommend salmon, for example. Salmon is a fish that's high in fatty acids, specifically the omega-3 fatty acids. They're very anti-inflammatory. They're just going to help you fight inflammation, which is what your body goes through after training and after practice and after games. So salmon being the first one. I also highly recommend, if you're going to put oils in your salad, for example, or if you're going to cook or bake your protein, use olive oil. Olive oil is always a great substitute for vegetable oils, because vegetable oils are going to be high in saturated fats, which are the fats that actually clog your arteries. You want to have the olive oil, which has a lot of the unsaturated fats, which are the fats that are highly anti-inflammatory. Those are the good fats for you, okay? The other food I would add is berries. Berries, I love strawberries, blueberries, cranberries, because those have a lot of antioxidants, and those are just helping, again, that anti-inflammatory process. I think the last 2 I would add would be vegetables, adding a nice colorful spectrum of vegetables to your diet. So whether you're having green, yellow, red, peppers, broccoli, sunflower seeds, just throw in everything you can in terms of greens, because those are also full of antioxidants. The last thing I would add are just the seeds. Kids, you often see kids munching on trail mix, and trail mix is an okay snack. The problem is the manufacturers, again, they load it with sugar, they load it with chocolate, they put peanut in there, peanut butter. It's things you don't need to be consumed because they're high in sugar. So usually if you go to the local store, if you go to a farmer's market, you can get the seeds raw. Eating them raw is always better than roasted, because you're not going to have it cooked in oil. You're not going to have those saturated fats. Again, have the seeds because they have the unsaturated fats, but don't have the roasted, fancy, chocolatey options, because those are just loaded with sugar and saturated fat, which you don't need for your diet. So those would be the 5 foods.